I believe there's a huge problem with financial planning the way it's currently practiced by most advisors, because it's just not reality for regular people. Greetings, this is Kathy Waite, founder and CEO of Your Net Worth Manager. As a fee-for-service registered retirement consultant, I specialise in helping people. They're usually around 10 years from retirement, or they're possibly already retired. And today I want to talk about the process of financial planning, because I think there's a problem. Financial planning, the way it's currently practiced by most people, is just not reality. The key problem is a false sense of precision. A false sense of precision that needs to be addressed. It's not based on reality. I'm not saying that the tools are wrong. We have really powerful statistical modelling tools. It's more the way we've often used them that's wrong. It's all wrong for real life. And I think it needs to be fixed, because right now I don't see math delivering peace of mind for regular people. So my purpose is to make financial planning or financial advice just a little bit more human and a little bit more based in reality, instead of this kind of precise mathematical myth that we often feel is just too perfect to ever really work out. So I've started using the phrase reality-based financial planning. And step one to reality-based financial planning is to make a guess. I want to explain what that means. I have heard over and over again from readers of magazines, articles and blogs that I write, one of the most frustrating things they experience from our industry, one of the biggest problems, is they go and they meet with a financial advisor, planner, money coach, whatever name that you want to use, and the financial advisor uses the word plan, and that just scares people. Because everyone thinks plan, that just sounds like a 2-inch thick book. It probably would make a good doorstep, but I honestly don't have time to read it right now. And then they get nervous, and the next thing that happens is the advisor starts asking, can you tell me what your goals are? Because people just don't know what their goals are, and they get even more nervous about this. They feel stupid because they don't have goals. And I didn't know this. I've done 30 years in this job, and I realised when I had to make a flyer, I went through all the new clients I'd taken on over 2 years and what they'd said, and not one had said, I have a goal. They all said, I'm worried about this, or I don't understand something. So financial advisors ask you where you want to be in 20 years, and most of us don't know about next year even. And particularly in today's world, where most of us, and certainly all of our kids, might have 4 or 5 different jobs, or maybe even 2 or 3 careers. And people are going to move around more. We all have to be far more flexible. Something in our brains knows this, and it can't accept the false sense of precision of financial planning software. To be sure, for me, a math geek, a nerdy girl, the math is comforting, but what I've come to realise is that to 90% of my clients, it isn't reassuring for them. So I prefer to think of goals and plans as a series of best guesses. I'll give you an example. If I was to say to you, the only thing that pilots know for sure about their flight plans when they take off is that they're wrong. So the moment they take off, with wind speed and other things that impact them, the pilot has to adjust what he's doing with the plane. So the only thing we know for sure about plans is that they're wrong. We just don't know how wrong, by how much and in what direction. We do know that the moment you walk out the door, the plan is going to be wrong. It's just no one in this industry can admit that because we're supposed to be the ones with all the answers. And here's why I know that the plan is wrong, because we use assumptions, and some of those assumptions are not going to be correct. We know they won't, because they're assumptions. They're not facts. It doesn't matter if it's the rate of return, or we guessed wrongly about the date that someone's going to die. Something's going to be wrong in the plan. So I would suggest that the first step in reality-based planning is getting clear that these are all just best guesses. Which brings me to retirement planning. If we accept the uncertainty, we can just say, what do you think this would look like in the future? Let's take a guess. Often whenever I bring up something that's 10 or 20 years ahead, people just don't engage in the process, and I sit there puzzled because they've come to me because they want a plan. It's all about their future, and they don't seem to have any imagination. But I think that intuitively, they know they have no idea. And then on top of this, there's lots of research that's been done that shows we're actually really bad at imagining ourselves 30 years from now. What would our future self look like? It's almost like we imagine ourselves as an independent third party. So we don't have much connection with our future self because we're imagining an independent third party. exactly how much connection can that have, that imaginary person in future have to any goal that we're thinking about now. So when I sit there, pen in hand, and say to people, what are your goals? When do you want to retire? I can see the neck muscles tense up. I can see the stress and the tension in the room. So what I try to say instead is, hey, can we think about this idea of retirement? It is a long way off, but most people want to make sure that work is optional at some point in their lives. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's make some guesses. And we're going to put a stake in the ground 20 years away from now. We're going to find a spot on the horizon we think we may be heading towards. We know, Mr. and Mrs. Client, that it's going to be wrong. But that's what I'm here for. 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, as we learn new information about that guess that we made 20 years out from now, we're going to incorporate that new information into our plan. And we're going to change the guess. We're not committed to the guess. We are committed to the process of guessing. That's the ongoing process of guessing. So this is incredibly important. It's a best guess. That doesn't mean we don't make the absolute best educated professional guesses we can, but we do allow ourselves to admit it's a best guess. So that's what I think is step one in reality-based planning. Why don't we just admit that life is uncertain? Another word for uncertainty could be reality. Instead of a false sense of precision and trying to wring out every ounce of uncertainty in life, because I think that's what often financial planners think. We think our job is to be sellers of certainty. I've realised that that's not my job. My job is to be a guide of uncertainty, because at the end of the day, what I do is I help people make incredibly important decisions in the face of irreducible uncertainty. So why not just be upfront with that and use the term best guess? I find people are incredibly relieved by this approach. Instead of goals, we aim for flexible planning. I've come to realise after thousands of conversations, hours and hours spent with clients, my value is not the plan. My value is the course corrections. It's dealing with life's curved balls, or custard pies as my mum used to call them, the things that whack you in the face, and also when you change your mind about what your best guess was. Who says you're always going to feel the same about everything? And that's why financial planning is a relationship. Financial planning is not a one-off event. So next time you're in the car on your own or you're doing a road trip with your spouse, think about what's your series of best guesses for the future. And I believe there's a difference between long and short-term best guesses, and that's going to be my next podcast. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, then please like it in the iTunes app and forward it on to a friend. Perhaps even send me a note to say why you agree or disagree with what I've just said.